other neat crap. Is this really? Yeah, I guess this is stuff that, yeah, real solid-eyed, badass. You can digital radio, your GPS, a computer, a screen. You get like, yeah, you get maps of your area.
Watch the game while you're at a conference.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about this. I just covered vaguely on this last year. Oxy site, it's real life white blood, like what Ryden has. It turns out that it's many, many times more efficient than red blood. But the drawback is that it's still in clinical trials since like 2006. It apparently causes brain damage.
It's a slight glitch.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. It's made of these things called chlorofluorocarbons. It's really a long word, but the oxygen is not able to latch onto that, not chemically, but in kind of these physical recesses, and it carries much more oxygen than red blood cells do. So this is technology that they're trying to come up with. Right now, they really only use it in experimental situations when someone's life is like really on the line. They've lost half their blood, they're about to die, so they put this stuff in.
Death or brain damage.
Okay. Robots. Who likes robots?
Yeah!
Yeah!
Everyone likes robots.
My favorite robots.
Excuse me, sir, it's pronounced robots.
Little too far.
Okay. Maybe you go.
Alright, so I was going to cover the things all things paranormal in Metal Gear. Here's where things got a little interesting because in Metal Gear, they tried to boil everything down to a science. So it got really interesting. But I figured I'd cover ghosts.
Is what's happening there really science? Is that science?
Hey, I'm a doctor.
It's chemistry, yeah.
In Metal Gear Solid 3, we first encountered the Sorrow, a true-to-life ghost who, while it seemed like the boss was aware of him, only boss was able to see him. When it came down to that, I questioned, well, can ghosts really exist? As it turns out, it's really hard to prove ghosts do exist, so I kind of went towards the maybe not. Now this here kind of points towards where the brain wants to see whatever it wants to see, really. So when people say they see ghosts, I'm not saying they're not seeing ghosts, but oftentimes the brain will create something it thinks it sees. Like if you ever look at a cloud, you might see a ducky. That's because the brain is actually melding that to the shape of a duck. So, I mean, it just makes it easier for you to comprehend it. This here is called the hollow face illusion. It's actually really cool, and it kind of demonstrates what I just talked about. Damn it, video. Oh.
No.
Science!
Hold on, guys. Technical difficulty. 1 second.
Anyone hear any good dirty jokes lately? Yeah? Oh God, that's filthy.
This one's really cool. I'm really sad that we can't do it. Well, basically what it does is it covers, basically if you watch this, and I really suggest that everybody goes on YouTube and watches it, the face actually follows you around the room, no matter where you look at it. It's only when you look at it from behind that the illusion breaks and you realize that it's not following you. It looks a little too realistic in this video because of bad quality, but if you're looking at it in real life, you can see the contours of it being inverted. Anyway, I'll move on from that. Sorry about that, guys. The conclusion is, ghosts don't exist, I'm sorry. As it stands, it seems way too easy to say that ghosts don't exist because science is very much in the favor of it not working.
I don't know, sir. There's a lot of shows on the Bio channel about
However,
ghosts.
what if schizophrenics are having conversations with dead people. And for all you Buffy fans, if you recognize that there, if there's anybody in here that actually watched it, there you go. ESP. Is it possible to read minds? This was another one that was just like, all right, how can I use science to prove this? Well, as it stands, I couldn't necessarily come up with any way of saying, oh, hey, Pierce, I know exactly what you're thinking of. I can't do that, unfortunately. But when it comes down to it, there are some interesting things that you can do. For instance, the CIA did have a program for about 20 years that put to practice the ideas of ESP. They actually did, at one point, kill a goat, and it was, they killed a man. I'm having word problems. A man was able to kill a goat with his mind. That's what I'm getting at. However, while it would seem that I'm not able to gather his thoughts from right next to him, there was a thing I came across where scientists actually put about 20 electrodes on the surface of a man's brain, and they were able to predict the words that he was going to speak next based on brain patterns. It was really interesting that they also did it to ferrets. Now, while ferrets didn't necessarily understand the words that were being spoken, their brains were repeating the words that they were hearing in the room. So it is very interesting stuff that it is possible to actually read somebody's mind that way. But in the end, you're not going to be able to really read people's minds the way Psycho Man just did. And no matter what, you'll never understand what women are actually thinking. Or I never understand what you're thinking. Here's a really fun one. Vulcan. This man has 10 million volts of electricity coursing through his body at any given time. Shut up. Now, what we came to was, I went to Pierce and I said, I'm not much of an engineer. Can you help me with this? What we did was we put it to the math, and...
Put it to the math, I like that.
Yes.
Put it to the math.
We tried to figure out...
Numbers!
I
like numbers. Yeah, so if you actually pull it back, I went through the numbers, and here are some assumptions. Say Vulcan has 10 million volts coursing through his veins. Let's just say that's possible. Suspending my disbelief on that. So Vulcan wears a rubber suit that's supposed to insulate him when he's in combat, basically so that he doesn't ground himself. So I didn't get a video of it. I really should get more videos. But in, say, the boss battle, he's shooting lightning out of his hand. That's just not possible. If he has his hand out and he actually has 10 million volts inside his body, it's just going to shoot straight to the ground, probably. So I actually crunched some numbers with the resistivity of air, kind of in ideal conditions, and it turns out that he would be zapping the ground with, what is it?
2.5
microamps.
Nanoamps.
No, nanoamps. Yeah, that's gonna hurt. Nanoamps.
Not much.
So then I said, okay, what if he accidentally grounds himself? Like he has a metal table where he falls to the ground, he accidentally discharges something. Well, it turns out that the body is much more conductive than the air is. So the power going through his arm is 333 gigawatts, or 275 times the lightning bolt that sent Marty McFly through time. It's a lot of energy.
He's not doing well after that.
It could be explosion or just zaps to a different dimension. I don't know.
So the conclusion to that answer is, could Vulcan survive having that much electricity in him at any given time? No!
It's like, I think to make that work, you'd either have to have a giant capacitor, or where his liver is, or a thunder.